for third Octet. And over the past several months, we've had many conversations with customers around interest in Microsoft Windows Virtual Desktop, or WVD for short. And these are customers who are already heavily invested in Citrix, or those that are considering WVD as a desktop and application delivery service. WVD is certainly gaining notoriety around its ability to deliver desktops and applications, especially from Microsoft Azure. And this is driven largely around entitlement due to M365 investments. And I thought it would be important to discuss a bit around WVD, the opportunities this presents for organizations who are perhaps considering WVD as a delivery strategy, for those who are already invested in Citrix technology and looking to expand to a hybrid cloud, or customers who, as a matter of fact, don't have any investment in Citrix or WVD. So topics today, we'll be discussing a bit around what exactly WVD is and what it's not. We'll also explore how Citrix enables hybrid cloud and simplifies the adoption of WVD technology. And of course, lastly, we'll explore the deployment models that are available to you as an existing Citrix customer, as a net new customer interested in WVD and Citrix. And for those of you who are already familiar with Citrix technology, you're well aware of the power in the portfolio that it provides to really simplify and centralize management and delivery of desktops, applications, and data. It's a relatively very powerful solution on premises, but it is now able to really extend beyond those confines and move towards a hybrid cloud model. And of course, inclusive of WVD. So businesses are really exploring hybrid cloud for many reasons. Of course, digital transformation to support innovation and agility in the business to remain competitive and relevant in the market. The impact of mobility, the flexibility to accommodate geographic distribution of workloads, bringing your own device, network performance, even security and cybercrime threats. There's this need to explore and bridge hybrid cloud, which is inclusive of on-premises data centers, on-premises control mechanisms, to now hybrid cloud to overcome some of those constraints that are typical of a traditional data center model. And today we're going to talk about desktop virtualization and really the unique and powerful Microsoft and Citrix partnership, and how Citrix is able to provide immense value add to Windows Virtual Desktop through its own native integration. So really, we're going to go deep on today is how we can leverage Microsoft Windows Virtual Desktop in Azure coupled with our traditional on-premises deployments and bring those two together with Citrix Cloud and Citrix Virtual Apps and Desktop Service. And it's really important as we talk about some of the key messaging around this slide here in particular. Windows Virtual Desktop has really provided a lot of innovation, especially around the Windows 10 multi-session. And of course, for a lot of verticals, there's no chance that you'll be able to deploy everything in cloud, lift and shift everything to Azure. You'll still have those on-premises investments, on-premises legacy applications, and you'll still need to address security, control, a hardware platform, and all the tooling you're already used to. And of course, we need to look at what the business wants, control costs. Businesses really don't want to invest significant capital moving forward to support perhaps desktop virtualization and app delivery, and want to take advantage of the flexibility and agility provided in cloud. yet maintain some cost constraints, automate scaling and orchestration to make the CFO smile. And of course, we want to maintain that positive user experience that users have become accustomed to with their on-premises deployments. So what exactly is Microsoft Windows Virtual Desktop? Well, it's a relatively new Azure-based service. It's in version 2, I believe, in the past month, and it was released to the general public over the past 12 months. So relatively new is true. It's a service available as part of a Microsoft 365 entitlement that provides desktop and application virtualization from Azure. Essentially, Windows Virtual Desktop includes a licensing entitlement for M365 E3 Plus or Windows E3 Plus SKUs. It's the next generation of remote desktop services, and it's only available in Azure for Azure workloads. It includes the new Windows 10 multi-session operating system, only licensed as part of WVD and Azure, and it also includes some Windows 7 virtualization rights with extended security updates on WVD in Azure. So if you are happening to struggle with Windows 7 application integration and compatibility that's preventing you from moving to Windows 10, it's a good opportunity to explore WVD capability to overcome some of those challenges and constraints. And if you're not familiar, of course, with Citrix Cloud, it's a platform that came out several years ago and has matured heavily. And one integral piece of that platform is Citrix Virtual Apps and Desktop Service. Now, if you've been involved with Citrix technology like I have for over a decade, there's been several reiterations of naming. Zen Desktop, Zen App. Citrix Virtual Apps and Desktops is fundamentally the transformation of Zen App and Zen Desktop under a single umbrella to manage both strategies. That's been in place for quite some time now. But really what Citrix Virtual Apps and Desktop Service is a cloud service for managing and delivering both on-premises and cloud virtual apps and desktops. It allows you to manage those environments from a quote-unquote single pane of glass and maximize those investments across both on-premises and clouds. And of course, take advantage of the existing skills you've developed internally to manage those on-premises deployments. And of course, it takes that native tooling that you've become accustomed to and now extends it to cloud to ensure compliance, security, and business requirements are met. And the best part of what I love about Citrix Virtual Apps and Desktop Service, especially when considering WVD, it allows you to transition at your own pace. So you build that comfort level with WVD and then transition your workloads and users as you see fit. So when we really combine the power of Citrix with WVD, you can do a lot more. First, of course, you can step into hybrid cloud at the pace that you are comfortable with. You can transition workloads that make sense. For example, one common requirement we see in the use of Azure for delivering desktops and applications is overcoming geographic constraints in service delivery, tackling latency challenges when delivering services across massive geographic distances. That is where the power of Azure makes a lot of sense. It's a challenge to think of deploying a data center closer to users when Azure is likely there already across many points of presence. And of course, we can maintain the same experience that users want and that they've become accustomed to. The HDX protocol, which is present in Citrix technology, the evolution of the HDX protocol now includes what's known as enlightened data transport. It allows for adaptive changing in the delivery of services in the presence of network congestion, network latency, and packet loss. And of course, that experience is device agnostic, whether users are connecting up from a Windows device, an Android, iOS, or our personal favorite, iGel thin clients. The experience is the same regardless of what device they use, where they are, and provides the positive experience that can change based on constraints. And it's also about modernizing your IT monitoring and control. You know, in disparate solutions, perhaps if you're using Citrix on premises and considering WVD, you'll lose some granularity and control that you're accustomed to with these two-point solutions. But by bringing Citrix and WVD together under Citrix Cloud and Virtual Apps and Desktop Service, you can still maintain the same monitoring and control mechanisms that you're used to with your on-premises investments. And of course, the partnership between Citrix and Microsoft goes just beyond WVD alone to include native optimization for Microsoft Teams and Office 365. And importantly, with profile management with FS Logics and being able to containerize O365 and M365 data to ensure the user experience remains positive forever. So really, when we look at enabling a hybrid cloud for your virtual apps and desktop services, really Citrix Virtual Apps and Desktops, CVAD for short, allows you to maintain that management capabilities on premises and now with Azure and Windows Virtual Desktop. That'll accelerate your Azure time to value because you're still able to manage the same images, the same policies, and the same profiles using the same tools that you're used to. And of course, that intelligent experience that we talked about, the adaptive nature of the HDX protocol. But it also eliminates barriers to the adoption, gives people a workspace they want. The last thing we want to do as IT experts, especially in end user computing, is provide a fragmented experience. If we need a desktop or an application that's on premises, we go to this URL and access our services. If we need perhaps a cloud virtual desktop, multi-session, Windows 10, WVD, whatever it may be, well, perhaps we have to go to this URL. Fundamentally, we want to maintain the same point of access regardless of where the back-end resource exists. And that's really where the beauty of Citrix Virtual Apps and Desktop Service shines. And of course, there's intelligent capabilities, workspace with intelligence, that goes beyond just applications and desktops to bring forward actionable items through microservices, micro applications to enhance user productivity, to keep them inside the content that they're used to working with. And of course, that seamless experience. We know in this massive shift to work from home, we've come across challenges in devices. People want to use tablets. People want to use Chrome, the Android, whatever it may be. And fundamentally, the overcoming those challenges of what users have at home becomes a non-issue when we're looking at Citrix technology, because it doesn't really matter what device we use, what form factor we use, where we use it, or even the nature of the network we're connecting from. We can guarantee an experience is positive regardless of the device, regardless of the network. And of course, when we look at massive applications that are very intense, be it 3D modeling, CAD, or even graphic design, or even videos, 4K videos, perhaps they're training, town hall sessions, the Citrix HDX protocol really powers those services to ensure a positive user experience. So when we look at modern monitoring and control, right, we don't necessarily have to focus on rigid access policies and reactive incident responses. The real-time policy engine built into Citrix virtual apps and desktops can adapt to those changing access conditions, be it location, identity, device, and or threats perhaps. We have the granularity to understand what type of device is connecting, perhaps who's the owner of that device, and mitigate risk by not exposing sensitive applications or even watermarking the screen to prevent accidental data leakage or understanding where data leakage came from. And we're able to then bolster that through machine learning and automated artificial intelligence to drive real-time analytics and take actions before incidents occur. So if we develop a baseline behavior, baseline profile of what users do on a daily basis, any deviation from that we can act on, such as data exfiltration, purposely or accidentally. We can apply policy to tighten controls around that user to mitigate risk. Perhaps even start recording the session, should we want to play it back for review in the future. So these adaptive security and performance settings are automatically applied across both on-premises and Azure environments. And now, especially in the day of a lot of virtual collaboration, we have to take collaboration to the next level. And we've all been in those sessions where a few people are crystal clear and others are choppy. Right? So delivering teams in Office 365 and M365 under Citrix virtual apps and desktops guarantees crystal clear voice and video and provides that native M365, OneDrive, and Teams experience, and allows us to overcome some of those bandwidth limitations that we've all experienced with branch and remote locations and home office. So with Citrix, you can really take advantage of everything Windows Virtual Desktop has to offer and so much more. And on this slide is reflective of some of those technologies, be it application layering, machine creation services, workspace environment manager, the capabilities to auto-scale your environment to meet need, HDX technology to guarantee the best possible user experience regardless of device, network conditions, or location. And of course the optimizations towards Teams and Skype, and then the ability to bolt on networking technology like SD-WAN to really optimize Office 365 traffic flows. Citrix Application Protection is one of many security features that can really mitigate the risk of accidental data leakage. And of course, for session recording for very sensitive environments where we want to guarantee quality, perhaps in a call center, or perhaps for Teams and telemedicine. And then great analytics that's not only monitoring user experience and performance, but that's also diving deep into security, again, to ensure that we're mitigating the risk around remote access. And to broaden authentication to include Azure AD, Octet, any other single sign-on solutions. There's great third-party identity provider integration. So really, this is where Citrix, not only in its ability to blend on-premises with hybrid cloud and WVD, it's really extending the value of your investments to amalgamate service delivery from a single point. And of course, flexible deployment options, and really whatever your need may be, Citrix has a solution, and Third Octet can certainly help you with that. First, very straightforward, simple solution. Citrix Managed Desktops. This is probably the fastest and easiest way to deploy Windows Virtual Desktops in Azure. From a web-driven console, there's Azure Quick Start, where you can identify the requirements and have those deployed and integrated in Azure in a matter of minutes. And moving beyond that, the flexible solution, which very much blends existing on-premises deployments with Azure and WVD. This provides you the advanced management and monitoring that we talked about previously, the provisioning capabilities to streamline workload delivery in Azure and WVD, and that guaranteed user experience based on the HDX protocol now available for WVD. And of course, the most comprehensive solution is Citrix Workspace. Not only is this providing centralized delivery regardless of where those workloads are for applications and desktops, but it's now also extending into data and intelligence. And all these solutions support Windows Virtual Desktop. So bottom line, Citrix with Windows Virtual Desktop is not a or situation. It's an and situation. It's Citrix and Windows Virtual Desktop to allow you to deliver the best virtual desktop that spans both your on-premises and cloud environments. And of course, you can try this today. Visit citrix.com/WVD. There's also a demo link for WVD Native, and also you can contact us at Third Octet, and we'll be happy to run through a proof of concept with you and your staff and really show you the value add Citrix provides for Windows Virtual Desktop. Thank you very much, and I hope you have a great day.